welcome back to Mrs. Feast for the Senses. Today we're making Detroit-style deep dish pizza. I've had a lot of requests for this one. It's going to be a good one. So in my stand mixer, I have 2 1/4 cups of all-purpose flour. To that, I'm going to add the yeast. I'm going to add 1 1/2 teaspoons of yeast to the flour. I'm going to add 1 1/2 teaspoons of sugar to the yeast and the flour. I'm going to whisk that together with your dough hook on your stand mixer. On low speed, you're going to add 1 cup of warm water. You want your water temperature to be between 80 and 85 degrees. We're going to turn this on. Low speed. We're going to add the water. And this is going to go for 2 minutes on low. It's been 2 minutes. Shut it off. What you're looking for is just for the flour and the yeast and the sugar and the water to just blend everything nicely together. And now we're going to let this rest. We're going to let this rest for about 8 minutes. And we're going to cover the bowl with some plastic. Put 8 minutes on the timer. While this is resting for 8 minutes, I'm going to get the pan ready. The pan that we're using is a 10 by 14 steel pan. The sides are about 2.5 inches tall. The star of the deep dish pizza is the crust and the cheese. We got to get the pan ready. So in the pan is going to be 2 tablespoons of olive oil. And we're going to coat the bottom and the sides of the pan. We're almost frying the dough. And I've got a pastry brush here. And I am just going to coat the pan with the olive oil. Okay, we've been resting for 8 minutes. We got our pan ready. To this dough, we're going to add 3/4 of a teaspoon of salt right to the dough. And this is going to go for another 10 minutes on medium speed. We're going to take the dough out and get it off the hook, and we're just going to kind of mix this for about 10 minutes, or excuse me. Take the dough out. Mrs. Feast, raw and uncooked. Get our dough together in this cute little ball. The pan that we oiled, we're going to put it in the pan. Cover it, and we're going to let it rest for 15 minutes. We're going to stretch it to the edge of the pan. We'll be back. We'll be back in 15 minutes. Now what we have to do is stretch the dough to the edge of the pan. And we're going to dip our fingers into a little bit of olive oil. So the olive oil is going to help, not really frying of the bread, but kind of frying of the bread. This is really what makes it. This bread is very closely similar to a focaccia bread, where it's crispy on the outside and soft bread-like on the inside. So I'm going to dip my fingers, and I'm going to work on stretching the dough on the sides of the pan. And if the dough springs back, if it doesn't stay where you put it, let it rest another 15 minutes and stretch it some more. That's usually So I stretched my dough, and as you can see, it sprung back. So I'm going to let this rest another 15 minutes to let the glutens relax. And I'm going to stretch it again. And you just want the dough up to the sides of the pan, not to the top of the sides, but just so that it's covering the entire bottom of the pan and maybe a quarter of an inch up the side. So while the dough is resting and rising, we need to get some sauce going. We have a cup of crushed tomatoes, crushed canned tomatoes, 1 teaspoon of dried oregano, and we have 1½ teaspoons of dried basil. We have a garlic clove minced, following a recipe, because all good cooks follow a recipe. I have a 1/2 teaspoon of sugar and salt and pepper, 1/4 teaspoon of salt. I like to eye it. And then we have about a 1/2 teaspoon of pepper. And we mix this together. A tablespoon of olive oil. Mix this together. And we let all these flavors blend and meld and make yummy goodness. While this rests and the pizza dough finishes up, we'll come back and put it all together. So our dough has risen almost 3 times the size. So the way we're going to do this, the way they do this in Detroit, is the dough is the star of the show. So we're going to put the cheese on the dough first and then put the sauce on top of that. And the cheese that we're using is a blend of mozzarella and Monterey Jack. And you want to get the cheese all around the edges of the pan, the dough. And we're using about 2½ cups of cheese. And the sauce we're going to put on in stripes, Detroit style racing stripes. And we have about 1 cup of sauce. See, it looks like we have more than 1 cup in this bowl, but we're going to just put about 1 cup on the pizza. And the pizza goes into the oven on the bottom rack, 15 minutes at 500 degrees. It's been 5 minutes. Just gotta loosen the cheese from the sides. Take it out of the pan. Take a look at that. Take a look at that crispy crust. Right down the center. Sarah, I'm going to take a piece from the corner. Look at that. Okay, here we go. True test. Listen to this crunch. Mmm. Mmm. Crispy on the edges, soft on the inside. Let me know in your comments if you tried it, if you liked it. Please like, comment, and subscribe. This is Mrs. Feast, and this is For Your Senses.